Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for the 10th edition of the CoveritLive University Web Series. My name is Spencer Kitley. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at CoveritLive. I'd like to remind you to please mute your phones, mute your computer microphones during the webinar. We appreciate you joining us today for the latest webinar, and we look forward to sharing with you information on what all is new with CoveritLive. Before we get started, I want to provide a brief overview of today's format. Expect this to last between 20 and 30 minutes, and at its conclusion we'll take questions through the WebEx client chat window, which is available at the top of your screen. If you click on the green tab and then click chat, you can submit questions to us after the webinar or during, and members of our staff will answer those questions. Additionally, this webinar will be posted on CoveritLive.com tomorrow, and where you can view it again or refer it to colleagues that weren't able to attend. You should also receive an email notifying you when it posts. Again, thank you for joining us, and now I'd like to introduce the host of today's webinar, the General Manager of CoveritLive, Ben Schneider.
Great, thanks, Spencer. As Spencer mentioned, we'll be covering what's new with CoveritLive, some recent updates that we've made in recent releases over the past few months. Most of these updates, if you haven't seen them already, are available online and able to see write-ups about them and announcements about them through our release notes in the What's New section of the website, also through our blog posts, and also notifications that are in the My Account and Dashboard areas. But we often find that customers see those and they check into them very briefly but don't remember about the updates or haven't had a chance to really investigate them, use them, and better understand exactly how they work. And so we thought we would take this particular edition of CoveritLive University and use that as an opportunity to walk through some of those new enhancements, explain them, show them how, demo how some of them work, and take any questions about them, and also give you a little bit of insight around how those relate to other features that we have coming up the road. So for today's particular topic, we'll focus on a lot of these Twitter enhancements. Since the launch of Event Studio, we've continually updated our integration with Twitter, adding more filters, adding more usability, and more flexibility around how you can use Twitter in conjunction with your event. And some of the recent releases over the past few weeks and months have expanded on that capability, including new user interface and improved experience for auto-tweet and search, some expanded social sharing capabilities, and the ability to post and tweet directly from the console. We've also added Vine support, which is, if you're not familiar with Vine, is a video service that Twitter has acquired and allows for very short videos to be easily published online through Twitter. We've also expanded our live scores offering to include professional golf, and in a continual set of improvements to improve the ability to use CoveritLive in responsive layouts and in mobile, we've expanded and enhanced how images work inside of CoveritLive. We'll also walk through the new and updated channel pages. We made some enhancements to channel pages that make them much more user-friendly and much more flexible in terms of their layout, in addition to the other great features they already had, including SEO-accessible content and the ability to have a designated home that's white-labeled, matched for your site under your domain for all of your events, upcoming, current, or past. And finally, we'll show a few enhancements and additions that we've made to the statistics dashboard and analytics, where we've given you some additional data that we hope you'll find useful for tracking your events. So first, we'll dive in and we'll start off with Twitter. There's three key Twitter enhancements that have happened over the recent few weeks. And some of these you may have already seen through the Event Studio if you've been using it with your events. But others you may not be aware of, and we'll demonstrate a few of those sort of things. The first is the ability to now post and tweet. So you can simultaneously, while you're writing content inside of your live event or live blog directly as a panelist or as a producer, have that content simultaneously published out to Twitter. And this is a great case for if you want to make sure you're broadcasting information about the event or whatever it is that you're covering and you want to do it in two places, then you can do that. You no longer have to go to Twitter and then have that pulled in through the filters, although that's one option. You can post to Twitter directly from within CoveritLive and simultaneously add that content to your event. You can also have, while using the other Twitter filters and capabilities where we've made improvements around auto-tweet and search, use those capabilities to bring in Twitter content that's coming from your users, the general social web, or other people, journalists, panelists that you may have in the field. We've also expanded social share to include Twitter as well. Previously, you could tweet about the event from within the toolbar, but you couldn't tweet about an individual piece of content unless you copied and pasted it. You could, however, share that to Facebook, and this is from a user perspective. We've expanded that Facebook functionality to also include Twitter. So now an individual user who's just viewing the event or following along as a member of the audience can find a specific piece of content and share that to from their own Twitter account to their followers, as well as Facebook and to their friends. And I'll walk through a few examples of these and how the interface is improved as well. So I'm going to jump into the event studio we have running for our CILU demo ticker event that we've used for a lot of our other CILU University sessions. The first thing that you'll notice whenever I start looking for a hashtag or a keyword that I'm going to set up, and I'm in the Twitter area from the toolbar on the right, is that the options in terms of what I can do in including retweets, images, links, etc. will auto-expand. So let's say I'm going to look for some Xbox One content. Now you'll notice as soon as I started typing, the options auto-expanded. I can see which particular items I want to pull in. Do I want to moderate it? Do I want to include retweets? While my default's already there, I can adjust any of those that I want. I can do all tweets or only top tweets, and then quickly add that keyword or hashtag search to automatically start queuing up that Twitter content. Now I've selected it to be moderated, so it will come into the smart stream once it starts finding content, and then I can selectively publish just those items that I want. But at any point in time, I can disable that and have it auto-publish that content to the event directly if I wanted to. I can also adjust these settings to include images or links or retweets. Now, these particular filters have been available since the launch of Event Studio, but we've had feedback that it would be easier to understand how they work and how to use them if the interface were refined. Additionally, we're planning on adding more functions to these features, more functions to these filters, and so having the ability to display that differently and make it more intuitive is something that we feel is important as we continue to grow out this capability within the platform. Those same options and that same functionality works as well for whenever you're checking for people and lists. You can auto-collapse it if you want to leave the defaults alone and just add your user or your list or your hashtag or whatever it may be. But it's meant to be helpful and also a way to more intuitively understand what's going on with the filters that you've selected. You'll also notice there's now a shortcut to search Twitter from here as well. So you can access the Twitter search to do individual one-off searches directly from the Twitter button on the toolbar or by going up to search and selecting Twitter. It's simply a shortcut, so that way you can get to all of your Twitter capabilities, whether it's auto-publish or moderation or individual searches, very quickly and very easily. Now the next feature that we talked about is the ability to publish directly to Twitter. So anytime you want to use Twitter content, your account does need to be linked to Twitter. And as you can see, I'm already linked to my Twitter account under LHFinLee. As a quick point of reference, if you ever need to change what Twitter account you're linked to or you need to delink it, you can do that from within the My Profile page whenever you're logged into CoveritLive.com. So if I'm logged into CoveritLive.com and I go to My Profile, I can see where I'm linked to Twitter and I can unlink that account. So if you want to remove access to Twitter for your specific account or change which Twitter account you're linked to, you can do that. Otherwise, once you're linked, that's the account that will be used for auto-publishing to Twitter, as well as for searching and doing things like that within the Event Studio. So right now I have the auto-post to Twitter feature disabled. It's turned off, and all if I want to do, I can just simply post comments or commentary into the event like normal. And it displays. If at any point in time I want to simultaneously publish that to Twitter, I can just click the button to enable it. You'll notice that I'm getting a reminder that Post and Tweet is on, that anything that I'm posting will be going to Twitter at the same time as posting into my live event and which account it will actually be going to. And then any post longer than 140 characters will automatically truncate, but will be published in full inside of the event. It also gives me notes about images being uploaded from the comment box or from the added event media area. We'll also post to Twitter. And I can choose not to show this again, or if I just want to dismiss it for now and be reminded in the future because I've got a short memory, then I can just click OK, and it'll remind me next time as well. Now, as you'll notice, the posting window has changed. It shows that I have a max of 140 characters for Twitter and how many characters are remaining. So now I'll type a message. And you'll see that it shows me how many characters I have remaining and how many are the ones that I've already typed. So as I go and as I add my message, I'll know if something's going to get truncated. And then the post button has also changed to show post and tweet to remind me that this is going to go to Twitter at the same time. So I'll go ahead and broadcast that message. And if I were to jump over to my Twitter account, you'll see that I have one new tweet under me, and there it is, my checkout CIO you can right now tweet. So I can include links, I can include media, just anything else that I want to, or I can keep it very streamlined and just simply have that be Twitter content that publishes at the same time. So it's a great utility for whenever you want to broadcast your content through Twitter to drive audience, or to pull in new content and drive new users towards what your event is about, as well as just to keep the full cycle of Twitter content going. And you can keep it on the entire time, so that way all of your content gets broadcast, or you can selectively turn it on and off throughout the event. So one of the other Twitter areas that we'll show is the enhanced social sharing capability that we've added. So if you look here now, whenever I am looking and viewing an event, actually we'll jump into another event real quick. If I can get the WebEx window to get out of my way to the window that I want. Whenever a user is logged in and viewing content that's not Twitter original content, but it's other content, whenever they mouse over that individual piece of content, they now have, in addition to the Facebook option, which was there before, the option to also share this content on Twitter. So if I am a viewer, an audience member, and I want to share this to my own Twitter followers, then I can do that. I can edit it before I do it. It also includes a link, so that way people can find the event, and then I can simply tweet that back out. Same thing for posting to Facebook, which is functionality that already existed, and it'll post it to my Facebook page, so that way my friends can see that in their feeds and come back and follow the event or comment or like it. This is in addition to functionality that exists within the toolbar where people can generally tweet about the event as a whole. This gives them now the capability to not just tweet about the event, but also tweet about specific pieces of content. So this enhances social sharing in a way that allows your audience members to broadcast your event on your behalf, share what they're following and what they're looking at, and allow more traffic to be found to your event. In addition to these features, we've also added support for Vine inside the viewer window. Vine is a video service that allows for very short video clips of 7 to 8 seconds to be made and broadcast on the internet very, very quickly and easily without needing embedded video players, and etc. And it has Twitter acquired Vine. It's become a part of its Twitter service and offering over the recent months. And it's a great tool for broadcasting really short, quick updates to things that are happening in a video format where maybe there are people out in the field or on site or citizen journalists or whoever it may be that want to share some video evidence of what's happening. And the Vine support is very simple. If I jump back over into the event studio, and I'll grab a Vine link, simply all I have to do is include that as the content I want in my post. And then when that content is published, you'll see that it comes through as a Vine video. The user sees a screenshot of it. They can play from directly within the viewer window and see that it is a video, as well as include a link to the video. And if I look at that from a viewer perspective, you can see the Vine video here, and the user can play it. So it's a quick and easy way to leverage Vine content, to use it to display any short video snippets that are useful or relevant to the event that you're currently partaking in, and also allow users who may be following along or audience members to submit video and pull those into your content, into your event as well. There's additional Vine integration that we have planned coming that will include the ability to search and display and have more robust forms of automatically pulling in that content, similar to what you can do with Twitter and other social sources. That's not available yet. As we continue to work with the Vine API, we've found limitations that make it more limiting than Twitter and some of the other social sources, and making the searching less accurate, and can also cause issues whenever users try to view a large amount of Vine content inside of one event. So until those issues are on the Vine side currently, but things that we are constantly monitoring and looking to enhance as those things become more useful and more accurate within the Vine service. And we will implement those over the coming months as we work through and see those enhancements made on that side and incorporate those into CoveritLive. So now jumping into another area where we've made some new enhancements, the live scores capability was something that we added with the Event Studio launch a few months back. And for those who aren't aware, live scores are live stats, updated scores, and other data, limited play-by-play data around professional and collegiate sports for the U.S. as well as European football, soccer, and some other select sports as well. It includes the NHL, the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college basketball, college football, and a number of international soccer and football leagues from around the world, including Europe and others, and allows you to instantly drop those scoreboards into your event and have that data automatically updated without you having to follow along. So if you're using your event to cover some sort of national, professional, or collegiate game, then you can use live scores to provide the score data, to provide some play-by-play information and other key points in the game, and have your users follow along that while you focus on engaging your audience in other ways, whether it's polls and trivia, whether it's rich media, or comments, finding good social content, or just banter amongst those who are in the event. We think it's a great utility. It enhances your events greatly, particularly if you're covering those areas in sports. And along with that, we also enhance our manual scoreboards. So that way, in case it's one of those events that we do not have access to for live scores, you can more easily keep those scores up to date and provide more robust data for even your manual events as well. But through our new enhancement that we released a few weeks ago, we've added professional golf to those live scores. So if you're interested in following golf or using your event to follow events around golf, particularly the tournaments, with the Players' Championships and others that have happened in the recent weeks, you can now do that automatically with the new scoreboard capability. Jumping back into Event Studio, I'll show how you add this. You can jump into Scoreboards, and you choose the live scores. You'll now see that under Leagues, in addition to the other leagues that I mentioned that we've had before, you now also have Professional Golf. So you can select that as your league, and you can see that the Crown Plaza Invitational is happening today at the Colonial. You can also see any upcoming events that are happening, if you want to set one up for the future. And all you have to do is simply select that particular event and publish it. Now you have a live golf scoreboard running inside of your event where you don't have to update any of that data, and you can focus on other forms of engagement. The golf scoreboards are pretty robust. They include a number of things that will make it easier for users to follow along and to keep track of what's happening. I'm going to jump out and show another example real quick. So if we look at Golf.com's live coverage of the Players' Championship a few weeks ago, you can see that they had the Players' Championship scoreboard included inside of their live event. You'll notice that it shows the top players, where they stood on a given day, what their total score and what their score on individual days was. As a user and as a viewer, I can cycle through the content and see where everybody stands, just going in order and paging up and down. And so I can see what all is happening and follow along throughout the rounds. But also, I may have a player that I want to follow that's not at the top of the leaderboard, and I want to follow them regardless of what they're doing. In my case, I may want to check out Justin Leonard. He's not at the top lately, so finding him through the leaderboard is going to be a challenge. But I can go select him as a user, see that he's tied for 60th, see what he's doing, how he's performing. And then I can also follow along, and he'll be added as a player to the crawler up at the top. And I can selectively pick out which players that I particularly want to follow, and at any point in time, click over and see how they're performing. I can also clear those particular users or pick other ones at any point. And go back to following just the leaders if I want. So for your users, it provides a lot of power. They can follow along very easily, any players that they want, or just the top or what's overall happening. Keep track of what's going on during the events, particularly whenever they're at work and maybe can't follow along on video or on TV, but they want to keep track of what's happening. So, if golf is something that you cover, or potentially something that maybe you want to augment some of your other events with, it's now a great resource for you to follow with these events. You can see here for the Colonial today, I can see what's happening, I can see all the players that are participating, and do the same sort of functionality. It'll be updated within minutes of players completing individual rounds and holes. We'll continue to expand our live scores capability and look to add other leagues as they become relevant, or as customers show interest, as well as other ways that we can make that data useful to you as well. The next area that we've made some enhancements is around image display. Previously, whenever you would upload an image, particularly if it was large, CoveritLive would automatically resize that and scale it down to a very particular size so that way it would fit in most viewer windows, regardless of how much space you were giving the viewer window on the page. But we've now made this more in line with responsive design and made it to where images will take up the maximum amount of space that they can take up within the viewer window or within the viewer experience, depending upon whether you're hosting your events on a channel page or the traditional viewer window or elsewhere, so long as it doesn't exceed the original size of the image. So this allows your images to be much bigger, much fuller, and much richer, so that way your users can see them better, can investigate them on their own, can open them and can view them in a new window, and also just see them in a much clearer way inside the event. And it's one of a number of things that we've been doing to make CoveritLive more supportive for responsive and mobile design. I'll show a quick example of this as well. Over in the Event Studio, I'm going to pull over a fairly large image. And let that image upload. So now you can see it's scaled down to fit inside the viewer window that I have as a preview here in the Event Studio. I can click on that image to get a new window with the full size of the image and see it very, very easily and clearly. I still have my event running in the background. But another thing that you'll notice is if I jump over into another window showing the CoveritLive event, you'll see here that it takes up more space. I've got a bigger viewer window. The image is taking up as much space as it can, so that way users can see it and maximize the availability of real estate that's been given to CoveritLive in this particular example. If I look at a smaller version of the window, it's scaled down to fit there as well. But all of these allow me to click and access a full screen new version of the image in a new window. So this provides your users, again, much more flexibility in viewing the content, much more detail in being able to see it, and making your overall content experience much richer. Another area where we've made some more usability enhancements is around channel pages. Channel pages were introduced last year, and in providing a little bit of background, they provide you a way where your events can be hosted through CoveritLive, but white labeled to match your site and under a domain of your choosing. But still match your home domain, but with them being hosted by CoveritLive, we can make the content accessible to search engines, and we can also have more flexibility over the layout and formatting of the page because it's not constrained to just the iframe widget. Channel pages are useful for SEO, particularly for your completed events and for archived events. They're also a great tool because they do provide more flexibility in the user experience, but they're also a great tool for having a dedicated home to your CoveritLive events, an archive for all of your events that have passed, a common, consistent place that you can find events that are upcoming or current, and they can be used in conjunction with any other form of CoveritLive that you want. So you can still use the CoveritLive viewer window on traditional article or home pages or in Facebook or anywhere else that you want to embed that iframe, but still have a dedicated home simultaneously on a channel page. So they're a great tool for a number of reasons, including the usability, flexibility, and SEO capabilities, and additions that it gives you there, as well as, probably most importantly, a simple, easy-to-find URL for all of your events for your users to quickly always be able to access those events regardless of where else you have them posted on your site. Some of the usability enhancements that we've added around channel pages include the ability to actually see the event take up more of the page and not be bound to the scrolling window. So as you can see here, the demo ticker essentially has infinite scroll going back since I've loaded the page. And I can always load more of the older content. It expands the length of the page. The user doesn't have to scroll within a window within the page. And they can continue to go back and see whatever content it is they want. It's not bound by frames around the live event. And new updates will continue to come in. And you'll notice here that while I would scroll down the page and I wasn't at the top, 2 new items came in. And instead of automatically loading those and causing the page to shove down more and displace where I'm scrolling within the event, it's simply queued up at the top with a message that there are 2 new items. So I don't know if anyone else has had the frustration of being on Facebook and seeing something in the feed and trying to scroll down to it, and then more things load and it messes with where you're scrolling, the page jumps. Those can be really frustrating experiences to users. And so when you have content automatically updating live, you don't want that to happen. So what we've done is whenever the user is not on the top of the page, we will queue up the new updates in that little dialog up at the top showing that there are new items, and we'll continue to increase that count as they arrive, but we won't change the content further down the page. If the user is scrolled to the top of the page, they can initiate that they want to load that new content now, and then as long as they're at the top of the page, any subsequent content that is added through the course of the event while they're on the top of the page will automatically load. I'll go ahead and add something real quick. We've already got a new item. So there you can see it automatically loaded it. It didn't show an item. It didn't show the dialog because I was already at the top of the page. So that's a nice usability feature that users can have. They can follow along. They can have a full page dedicated to the event, and you can create a much broader, much better user experience around the entire live event experience by working the content more into the layout of your site, having more flexibility around display, as well as monetization options, and the ability to brand the entire channel page either with advertising or sponsorship for the specific event or for any particular campaigns you're running across your site as a whole. We'll take a quick look at how the core channel page looks. And you can see that from here if you go to live.democover.com, and this is an example using CBS Sports and their fantasy events, but running our demo ticker events for CILU. Whenever I arrive here on the home domain, I can see what's live now. I can see completed events or upcoming events. And then I can click into this and see a full page version of all of the content that's happening. Again, it's white labeled to match my site. It's under the domain that I choose. It has additional SEO capability and is a dedicated home for people to be able to find the content, with a lot more flexibility around the experience, branding, sponsorship, advertising. And these templates can be set up on your end very easily, where you simply provide us with a URL where your template is located, and then we'll set that up, and you can update that URL at any time to change out how the page looks without having to contact us, or we can set it up on your behalf in the back end of the system. The other thing that's an advantage of channel pages is they also have the ability for you to designate a different alternative mobile layout. So here I'm looking at the Cracked channel page as an example. Cracked has a ticker running with a number of their Twitter updates. And you'll see this load in the full page. And this is their regular website version. Now, I can't show you on a mobile device, but I can at least show you that there's a slimmed-down alternative mobile template that loads to the channel page as well. It's still under the same domain. It gets loaded up and redirected to this site whenever we detect that someone's coming from a small mobile browser, such as Safari on an iPhone or on an Android Android phone they're accessing the device, but still get the full experience on a tablet. And it allows you to control what that experience is. So if you have an alternate mobile template that you pulled into a different mobile URL, whatever it may be, then you can use that same layout for your channel page as well and provide a dedicated and fully designed, tailored mobile experience for those events. And all of that's accessible in the back end for you to manage if you're a custom customer. Channel pages are included with your account if you're a custom subscription customer. We need to know what the URL that you want your channel page set up under, and so you can contact us and we can help you with that information. And once it's set up, you will then have access to update the template URL at any time, both for your live regular web template or your mobile template. We will automatically, every few minutes, update these and fetch new content as needed, or you can also have them load and manually queue that up at any point that you want to. And you can also have a stage and testing environment, so if you want to look at these changes on an alternate URL before pushing it live, you can do that. From here, you can also select which live events you want to publish or any completed events from the archive that you want to publish, as well as upcoming events. And then when you're creating an event, you'll have the option to publish it to any one of your channel pages as well. So it's a very simple setup and something that you can control, or if you prefer, we can set up those templates for you and have them set up from our side and controlled and updated on our end if that fits better with your organization. So as I mentioned, channel pages are included for custom subscription accounts. If you're not already using a channel page, we highly encourage it. There's a lot of great benefits there. And please contact us if you'd like more information on how to set it up and get going. For self-serve customers, channel pages are not included, but if you're interested in using one or having one set up, they can be added to your account for an additional charge. And again, contact us either through the support email address or through the website, and we'll be happy to walk you through that and get you going. The final recent enhancements that we'll cover for today are some additions that we've made to the statistics dashboard. And essentially what we've done is added some more data around duration, around comments, and some of the other items that we've been tracking for what's happening to the activity during your event. And one of the things that have been added is that you now can see the average duration of your readers and the total readers who are over a minute. So you've had, you also have, you can see the comparison of total readers over a minute as well as those total under a minute. In this example, it was 90% over, 10% under. And that gives you a good sort of feel as to those events, those users that just sort of hit the event and bounced versus those that hit the event and stayed for an extended period of time. You can see the example also that you have the average reader duration, which shows you 42 minutes. And also the total number of comments sent in, 20, in addition to the other content that we provided, like number of events, total reader clicks, average reader clicks, replays, etc. This information can be accessed from the Stats and Analytics area when you're logged into CoveritLive.com, and also some of the content, except for duration, is accessible from the Event Studio. So if we take a look at the Event Studio and we look at the statistics, I'm running a ticker that's still live, so duration content won't be available for this right now. However, I can see the total number of comments, and I can see that directly from the statistics area within the event itself, within the Event Studio. If I jump over into my account page and click on Stats and Analytics, I'll see this content for a number of the events that I've searched for, or the events that come up by default. So by default, it's going to show me all my completed live events across all of my groups for all dates. Shut down a couple windows here. And then once I've loaded that content, based on my search, based on what comes up by default, I can see it for the total events, for the results. So here's the number of events that it's looking, the total clicks, average reader duration, which you can now see, 23 minutes. The percentage over a minute at 72, the percentage under at 28, as well as total comments and average comments sent in per event. So I can see that for the complete result set. I can also dive in and see it for individual events as well. So here, whenever I click on the stats for one particular event, I can see the total number of comments, again, the total readers over a minute, total under, and the average duration time, which is 16 minutes. So these and additional data are things that we commonly hear back from customers, are things that they're interested in seeing and being able to understand more about. How many submissions are they getting from users? How long are users staying on average? And what type of engagements they're having. We'll continue to expand the data that we provide through Stats and Analytics in the future. On the roadmap, we have the items to add things like what sort of devices they're coming from and what different locations. If you're broadcasting your events across multiple destinations, maybe syndicating to multiple sites, or using ChannelPages in conjunction with the widget, or Facebook, and any combination of those. And those are things that over time we'll be adding to further blow out the type of data and the understanding you can have around how your users are engaging with your event through the Stats and Analytics area. And we're always looking for feedback on other data that you'd find useful and helpful in better tracking and understanding your events. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining, taking the time to listen through some of these updates. I hope you found the information helpful. Hope you learned some things that you didn't already know that we had added to the product and to the platform. And if you have feedback or questions around those, we'd love to hear it, or even suggestions around how we can continue to grow these features in the future. At this point in time, we'll look and see if there are any questions from anyone and address any of those that we can now, or follow up on any of those individually if we need to. And I'll take the opportunity to remind you about our next CoveritLive University session, which will be on Thursday, June 27th. We'll move back to our regular time at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we will post updates on the exact content of that particular session in the coming weeks. If you have any suggestions for things that you think would be helpful to see, we'd also like you to hear those and take those into account as we're planning out our next topic for next month. So at this point, Spencer, let me know if there's any questions from anyone. And if not, then thanks everybody for your time, and we'll look for you at the next session.
Yeah, we had one question earlier, and if you're still there, feel free to shoot us any questions through the WebEx client chat window at the top of the screen. The one question that came in was from Herb. He was wanting to know if it's possible when I do post and tweet, can I have all my tweets? Is there a way just to make it have all my tweets go out?
I'm not sure if I understand the exact.
He was asking if we were doing post and tweet and you wanted everything to post and tweet, can you do that?
Oh, you can, yes. So you can essentially, in the event studio, leave the switch on, and any content that you're publishing directly into the event, like whether it's photo, whether it's content that you write, you can leave that on the entire time through the event, and everything that you publish from the writer's window, from the writer's console part of the event studio will publish into the event and will go to Twitter simultaneously. So you can do essentially every piece of content that you want, any updates that you provide directly can be included and sent out to your Twitter account. Along with that, I know of another question that's come up in individual conversations that I'll just address really quickly, and one has been, can you broadcast simultaneously from multiple accounts? And in that case, an individual cannot. We're linking one Twitter account at a time, and obviously that's a little difficult to manage in terms of which accounts are you wanting to broadcast which content from at any different point in time while you're running the event. So it is limited to one account per user, although as I showed earlier in the session, you can go unlink your account and relink it to a different Twitter account if you want to change at some point. You can do that. But it is limited to one account per user at a time, so it will always come from that one Twitter account for you as a user inside the event studio as a panelist or producer running the event. However, for an event, if you have multiple producers running the event and multiple producers providing content, they can all link their individual Twitter accounts and have content being broadcast to their Twitter account from their specific individual updates that they're providing the event. So for an event, can be broadcasting to multiple Twitter accounts. It just has to be spread across multiple producers who are providing that content at the same time.
All right, it doesn't look like we have any further questions. Thank you again for joining us today at the 10th session of CoveritLive University. A reminder, next session is Thursday, June 27th at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll announce the topic in the coming weeks on CoveritLive.com under the CoveritLive University tab. Have a great weekend and a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.